headed today?
We're heading down the Kentucky River towards Lock and Dam number 4 right here in downtown Frankfort.
This is a beautiful river. I understand that you talk a lot about the history of the river on your way to the distillery?
We do, yeah. So our tours are bourbon-themed history tours. So not only are we talking about the history of bourbon here on the river, but we talk a lot about this river's impact on our city here, as well as the impact it's had on the state of Kentucky. How bourbon got founded, how the name bourbon itself even became the name for that whiskey. It was named after Bourbon County, Kentucky. And later on, barrels shipped down this river to places like New Orleans were stamped Bourbon County, Kentucky whiskey. And so folks in New Orleans thought that it was bourbon whiskey and the name stuck. So talking about that history, the history of our founders like Elijah Craig and Colonel Blanton and Colonel E.H. Taylor, who took Kentucky whiskey and turned it into the multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry it is today. I love teaching people about that history here on the river.
And it all started on this body of water.
It all started right here on this river. Those early whiskey distillers, all those guys that came across the Appalachian Mountains from places like originally from Scotland and Ireland, they all knew how to make whiskey. So they brought those stills over the mountains with them, and they just viewed this river here as the perfect shipping channel for moving that kind of stuff. And it all started right in this area.
Fabulous. Well, we're headed into lock number 4, right?
That's correct. We're heading into lock number 4. The 4 locks and dams downriver from us were all built in 1840. They're all still operational today. They're free of charge to go through on weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And except for new doors and new hydraulics, they're exactly the same as they were in 1840 when they were built.
Wow, that's incredible.
These locks will take you all the way out to the Ohio River eventually, which is about 65 miles downriver from where we currently sit.
So they quarried these stones and hauled them down here on horses?
Some of these stones came from the Frankfort rock quarry right here in Frankfort, and some of them came from other places, and laid them in the river to create the lock that we have today. Yeah, so when you're in these historic locks, you're talking about being in something that's almost 200 years old and still functions in primarily the exact same way it always did. That's pretty fascinating, Once the lockmaster shuts the upstream doors and closes the valves on them. So each of the hydraulics, there's 3 hydraulic gates on each door. So each side, the upstream and the downstream side, have 6 gates. And he's closing those gates right now, and what that's doing is it's not allowing any water to come into the lock chamber anymore. He'll then go down to the downstream side and he'll open up those gates. So it's kind of like pulling the plug on a bathtub.
Okay.
They can pull the plug and the water's going to drain right out through those gates. He can take it down as fast or as slow as he wants to. Usually once he opens the gate, it's about 8 to 9 minutes to drop all the way down to the lower level. So if you just think of it as a 145-foot long, 36-foot wide bathtub, it makes no sense to a lot of people. That's all we're in. As kids playing in the bathtub, you pull the plug, and what was left behind was your little rubber ducky or your little boat on the floor. That's the same thing that's going to happen next. It's just going to drop out with the lock. The drop in this lock here is right around 15 feet. And close to 1 million gallons of water will drain out of here in the 8 minutes it takes to go down.
Wow.
The hillside right up above us up there to our right is the original settlement in this area. So in 1776, Hancock Lee built his community here. That's 1 year after Daniel Boone built Fort Boonesborough. So Leestown was up there at the top of the hill, and it was primarily a farming and a hunting community up there. And Buffalo Trace Distillery now sits on old Leestown property, basically. This is Kentucky's river. It's a self-contained river here in the state. All the water is Kentucky water that you're on. So it's a very important river to how our state was founded. That one looks a little scraggly. I bet that is a young one. Oh, that's so pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, Captain, you seem to know a lot about history, and I have this riddle they've given me to solve. In Kentucky, not every ball goes in a basket, and not every liquid resides in a bottle. In 1919, a magical pairing occurred in Frankfort, and your mouth will never be the same.
Well, you've got to be talking about the bourbon ball, of course.
Really?
Yeah, so, the bourbon ball invented here in Frankfort at Rebecca Ruth Candy's in 1919 is the perfect pairing of chocolate and bourbon. And the Bourbon Ball is the one bourbon experience we have on the Bourbon boat. All of our guests do get to enjoy a Rebecca Booth Bourbon Ball.
I'm gonna have to try one of those.
Well, you should. It's just down the street from where we finish our tour out here, and head right over there to 2nd Street and go check out Rebecca Ruth Chocolates. You can take a tour of the candy factory while you're there.
Sounds great.